No one knows what Kawhi Leonard's gonna do, and I don't care what anyone says, the entire Clippers offseason is focused on Kawhi's decision, but why would he ever leave the Clippers? I mean, they would have made the finals if fully healthy, and they should run it back, right? Boom! One rumor says Kawhi's unhappy with the Clippers medical staff, similar to what made him leave in San Antonio, and that report came from Skip Bayless? Oh, whatever. Getting sports news from Skip is like getting actual news from the National Enquirer. Weird, I never saw any Bat Boy news anywhere else. Seems like a huge story. Still, Kawhi has not committed one way or another, and to keep him, the Clips need a game plan. This video explains what that offseason plan is and what they need to do if Kawhi does leave the team.
Yo, it's Casey, this is Aim Hoops. Hit subscribe for 5 videos per week, and Wednesdays is for Offseason Wednesday. 28 teams are officially in the offseason, 2 in the finals, and we haven't gotten through that many teams, so let's start cranking these out. And today,
offseason basics for the Clippers: cap space $0, exceptions the $5.9 million taxpayer mid-level exception. The draft, they actually have a first-round pick, 25th overall. Needs, depth, health, and the relevant free agents. Serge Ibaka's got a player option, Reggie Jackson, Nick Batum, and some guy named Kawhi. First, let's talk about his decision. So Kawhi's one of those rare players who is so good that he could have a huge injury and still get paid the max. Dude has dealt with leg issues since his San Antonio days, but like Kevin Durant, every team would pay the max to get him. Now, he's got 4 options if Kawhi wants to stay with the Clippers. First, opt into his player option for $36 million, become a free agent next season. Or sign a 1+1, which is basically the same thing, only it pays him a little bit more this coming year. Third, opt out and sign a max right away. 4 years, $176.2 million. And his fourth option is to opt in and extend for a total of $217.5 million. Most people look at that and they look at the big number and say, well, why wouldn't he just go for that? Option number 4. Well, if he becomes a free agent next year, Kawhi can then sign the largest contract of all time. He would get paid $235 million over 5 years with the Clippers. But anyone who's followed Kawhi knows max money is not his motivation. I mean, he could have had a supermax from San Antonio or the Raptors. This dude instead wants to win and be in LA. The Clippers will do anything to make him happy, so I don't see Kawhi leaving. But we have to ask the question, what if he leaves? Well, the Clippers are not totally screwed. Not many people are actually saying this. The 2021 playoffs proved a lot about this team. First, Ty Lue is one of the better coaches in the entire league. The adjustments he made throughout the postseason were awesome. I loved his attitude, even in the face of being down 0-2 twice. And Paul George is capable of leading a team still. PG is locked in for 4 more years, and the Clippers have depth around him. Stars love to play in LA, and it's not crazy to see another star wanting to pair with PG. The Clippers are so far above the cap right now that Kawhi leaving would not even give them enough space for a max free agent, but a sign and trade is always on the table. If there's one thing the Rockets showed us recently, is that even with almost every draft pick traded away, there's always hope. Again, I don't expect Kawhi to leave. I think he will opt out, then sign that 1+1 and make as much money as possible in free agency after next year. Next is the free agency of Nick Batum, Serge Ibaka, and Reggie Jackson. That is a lot of depth that could be out the door. I mean, Jackson will get paid elsewhere. He's as good as gone. That's how good he was in the playoffs. Ibaka has a player option for just about $10 million bucks. If he can get a last long-term deal somewhere else, he should probably leave too. Batum is really tricky because he was on a minimum contract last year, so the Clippers can only offer him like $3 million bucks. And he played like a $10 million player at least. There is a chance he would take LA's mid-level, about $6 million, to stay, but that's unlikely. Bottom line here, the Clippers are going to have to get lucky if any of these players stay. I could easily see a world where all three are on different teams next season. So that means the front office will have to get busy with free agency and trades. And before we get to the moves that they need to make, let's look at their draft pick. At 25th overall, the Clips should take Cameron Thomas, a shooting guard from LSU. The reason I'm going with Cam Tom is he can score and contribute right away, or he's good enough to be a trade piece somewhere else. I don't like the idea of a young point guard, even though the Clips could use a point guard with Reggie Jackson leaving. Rookie point guards for me, just too mistake prone. A 20-year-old would be set up to fail. Thomas has been a good scorer his entire life, and the Clippers need depth at every position. But realistically, I think LA should trade whoever they get, and the first thing they should do is get Kemba Walker for that 2021 rookie, and Ivica Zubac, Rajon Rondo, and Luke Kennard. This would only happen if the Clippers feel good enough about Kemba's return to health. His knee issues were a constant problem for the Celtics last season, but this is exactly the kind of high-risk, high-reward deal that could end in a championship. Kemba's elite-level scoring with his ability to set up Kawhi and PG would be awesome. His bad defense can be hidden by the other big two on the Clippers as well. The Thunder are looking for a deal just like this to move Kemba. They could get a young prospect who was just picked at 25th overall, plus a 24-year-old shooter in Kennard and expiring contracts. Kemba's health, obviously a big question mark, but these flawed deals are all the Clippers can actually afford with limited resources. Another trade would be Ivica Zubac's Terrence Mann, that 2021 rookie, and the Clippers' 2028 first for Christian Wood. I know Rockets fans, settle down. This only happens if Houston wants to draft Evan Mobley at number 2 overall. If they trade Wood, it clears up the center spot for Mobley to start right away and develop, and they continue to stock picks and prospects. The 2021 rookie would be a gamble at 25th overall, but that 2028 first could be the most valuable pick in their draft chest in a few years. Houston also gets Terrence Mann, who proved he could ball out in a big spot, dropping 39 in Game 6 against the Jazz. Mann would have a lot of playing time in H-Town, so the move makes sense for him. On the Clippers, Christian Wood is a modern center, unlike Zubac, and he's a valuable insurance piece if Ibaka leaves. A move like this improves the Clippers roster while further leveraging their future. The big picture for this team, obviously it's Kawhi Leonard, but outside of that, they need to swing a gigantic trade no matter what. They went all in for Kawhi and PG and can't afford not to improve. Their only other tool to get better is that $5.9 million exception. If Nick Batum doesn't take it, this is a list of the targets: Bobby Portis, TJ McConnell, Kelly Olynyk, Danny Green, Carmelo Anthony, Austin Rivers, or Daniel Tice. The good news for the Clippers, almost everyone fits because they really need depth at every position. The bad news, for just $5.9 million, they're not getting any elite game changers. When Kawhi opts out of his contract, don't freak out. All that means is he's trying to get as much money as he can and stay with the Clippers. This team proved a lot of haters wrong in the postseason, but they have to get real creative to continue improving and finally win that chip.
Like I said, we have a lot of teams to get to for offseason Wednesday. If you want to get caught up on the teams we've already tackled, here is the playlist right here, all of the videos we have done so far.